Brett Allan here chatting with Mat Kearney. I'm excited. Your music has been a soundtrack to different parts of my life. And this new album, self-titled album, Mat Kearney, is great too. Thanks for your time. It's great to meet you. And I'm excited to chat with you today. I appreciate your time.
Honored, man. Thank you for saying that. That's so cool.
It's very true. Well, I turned 50 this year, and this album that you just released, your self-titled album, fits so well with just where I'm at in life. But your music is always done that way. Do you hear that a lot from people? Because I would imagine you should, because it's true, because your music is raw, it's real, and just fits for what's going on in people's lives.
Um, well, yeah, I mean, that's what that's what I'm shooting for. So when it happens, it's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I think usually I'm writing to deal with my own life or my own things. And that tends to communicate as like the more personal and real I am with myself, I feel like that tends to be more about the human condition and other people really respond to that. And that's the dream. That's kind of why I started doing this was to be like an explorer of emotions for myself. And then weirdly, I found out that I was doing it for other people too.
Yes. Well, Ships in the Night has always stood out to me, particularly when I was going through a divorce. Although the point that I'm trying to make is that it really spoke to my soul and to my
Yeah.
heart, honestly, as far as like just a lot of the things that I dealt with, although it didn't turn out the way that I had thought it was going to. The
Yeah.
point is, obviously, it's not a counseling session for me.
Let's go there. Let's go.
I know, but for real though, it really just a lot of the tones and themes to that song. Sumac, another one I think is good. But this new album is really cool because it's a different tone, I feel, but
Mhm.
also has those same types of messages. When you sit down to write an album like this, where do you start as a creative? I would imagine because there's just so much there tonally, but also so much there
Mhm.
message wise, deciding what you're going to put on a
Yeah.
record.
Well, I mean, you don't figure it out at one time. I really relate to this uh like John Grisham or something. He was like, gotta write this book he's gotta come out with the book every summer, you know? There's just a plotting to the process where you like right now, my record's out, I'm home for a minute, and I start writing again. And sometimes it's easier, sometimes it's harder, but then you kind of find these moments um, that resonate, and then through that, there's a crack that a door opens, and you're like, oh, Tom Waits said like certain songs have seeds of other songs in them. I totally relate to that. It's like you find this one thing, and you're like, oh, that could be a whole project. But usually it starts with your creativity. It's like, what am I into right now? Like, what's the vibe? Do I want to uh, I want to make a band record, or I'm like feeling these band vibes. That's kind of what started my last record. Was like I want real instruments, guitars, drums, bass, piano. I don't really want to mess with like weird production. I want it to feel very timeless and organic. And then, oh wait, I need really good songs if you're going to do that. So that was kind of the process that evolved on this self-titled record I just put out.
Yes, the other thing that I do like, and I come from this generation where music videos, not I like the lyric videos that people do on their own,
Yeah,
or maybe you as an artist might have something to do with, but your style too, creative wise, when it comes to your videos, it's just you mostly, and you're telling this story, and the physicality and the act outs are there too. I keep talking about Sumac. That one I think is cool because it's you going into a fenced area on a road and you're
yeah.
just telling this story. Do you have other people involved in that creative decision too, or is it just you and the same vibe that you just described? I
Yeah,
want to go put this together, get a good photographer and go
yeah.
out and film.
Well, generally, the stuff I film in my studio, sometimes I do by myself, but generally there's always another collaborator on Instagram or YouTube or that social world because you can't film yourself. So it's really fun. I usually have a vision and kind of like a macro vision, and then usually people have come help me execute it, or some people brings a vision and we collaborate on it. I knew that for this record, I really wanted. I didn't like my January Flower record, my record previous to this, we did a bunch of like narrative videos, and there's like story and more acting, and it was really fun. But you realize, like, in this kind of short form world anymore, like a lot of it was lost on people, and they don't sit through a whole 5 minute experience. So for this one, I was like, this record feels like the songs are doing the talking. What I really want, like, location to be, it feels like there's mountains and oceans, and it's expansive. That's what it didn't feel like city stuff. Maybe there are a couple songs that are a little city, but it's mostly like these expansive areas. So instead of like doing some crazy budget on actors and extras and cars, and I was just
Yeah.
like, I'm like, we're all flying to Big Sur and we're going to film that for the day, or we're going, uh, you know, so the actor the main character became a lot of the settings and the locations we decided to film at, and then just really simple shots was kind of what I wanted to do.
I love it. Well, I first became familiar with you in the early 2000s when Nothing Left to Lose came out.
Yeah,
I was a DJ at a Christian radio station in New Mexico, and this
yeah.
album came out, and it started getting airplay on that and all the other places, which was interesting, I think, for that time in particular, because although, I'm not here to get into that kind of discussion, but your
Yeah,
music transcends all the genres, so to speak. As
yeah.
an artist, how does that feel for you, even though you might not tonally be trying to reach one particular audience, but the music and the lyrics are that good that it just gets picked up and played by everybody?
I mean, I it fits my personality in that I was kind of like, I was the guy that um lived in the dark rooms at my school and did photography, and like art was this massive thing to me. But I also like was an athlete because I played soccer and hung out with jocks. So I think this kind of like uh being able to bounce around, then I'd like hacky sack with the hippies, or when I'd walk by, like, and I played with the chess. I would sit at the chess kids table because I thought chess was interesting in the cafeteria. So I do think there's a nature of like me playing with genre that appeals to kind of a broad thing that fits kind of my story and how I'm wired. Um, and I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I think that these ideas, a lot of my mining my own soul and my own spirituality and what that meant. I understand that I get how people relate to that, because I think we've all gone through those journeys, and those truths are true. Like they're just, I don't know that, like, the songs that are big and they matter are because something else bigger matters too. I truly believe that. I think any trend of a song or artists can get really big in a moment because everybody's attracted to them, but songs that last forever are like
Yeah.
they touch on something way bigger than the artist in that moment. Like there's a deep truth that is like resonating with people. So I guess that's the goal always. I don't always find it, but that's the thing that I mine for, and I think you have a chance at connecting with a lot of people if that's your goal.
Yeah. Well, I feel like you have, honestly. Like I said, I turned 50 this year. I don't have it in front of me, but I have physical CD copies of every album that you've released. I really do. Because I have a van that has a CD player. And although streaming is kind of the thing now, I still have that old school mentality of purchasing albums, and supporting the artist that way, because I think it's important and it really matters to me. Uh,
Mhm.
and I like the physical copy of things. Like, it's
Yeah,
nice
yeah,
to have
yeah,
that
yes.
in hand. All right. Well, you have a big show coming up. This episode will obviously come out prior, but you have a show at the Guild Theater in Menlo Park on the 19th of November. Very cool stuff. Let's talk about that and what that's like for you and how excited you are to play this show.
Very, very excited. This tour has been I don't it's like it's one of my favorite things I've ever done. I think there's a season of life when I was like opening for John Mayer at Madison Square Garden, or playing the VH1, whatever. And a lot of those are like were lost on me at the time. I feel like I'm I think back and I'm like, what did I feel like back then? And I was like, I don't even really remember it. Um, but this tour, I don't know, the longer I do it, the more I appreciate it and I'm grateful for these moments I get. And I think I'm having the most fun I've ever had. And I think we're putting on the best show I've ever put on. Because I think they're all connected. Like you being present, you being grateful, you being in the moment, you not worrying about like what it means other than like, hey, I'm here and this is all I can do is pour my heart out and see what happens. Um, so yeah, I'm really looking forward to the being in uh, on the road this fall, and this band is killer and the show is killer. It's really feels really special.
Yeah. Well, I was looking at your tour dates. Have you played Colorado? I'm sure you have at one point. Do
Lot.
you, yeah, where's your favorite place to play in Colorado?
I mean, Colorado might be my favorite place to play.
Okay, okay.
I did a pure Colorado tour last summer just playing ski. I'm a big skier. I love like ski towns. So let's see. Denver always goes hard.
Yeah,
They
for
do
sure.
Boulder's fun. We played in Aspen. It's real high. You usually have to have oxygen. Um, it depends on if you work your way up there. Yeah. I played in Steamboat. That's a cool little town. I don't know. I love being in Colorado. It's just the mountains speak to me.
Yes. Well, one last question here. I do want to ask, like, every album you've done is different and unique in its own special way. As I said, it's really just like a soundtrack to my life, and I know it has been to others. But when you look at all the different projects from the beginning to now, your self-titled album, do you have influences that you look to when you're writing music, or is it all just maybe a different approach for you when you go to create?
I mean, I think we're all a product of our influences. Like I think bands are funny. They never actually admit their biggest influences. They always say like one, it's like Coldplay never said like we like you too. They're like we like Radiohead or something, you know.
Yeah, you'll never hear that from anybody.
No, you never hear the most influence you get. It's always like the one the cool one removed. Um, but yeah, for this record, there's always a bunch of influences for me. I've always played with genre. Um, I was listening to a lot of Bob Marley, and like when I made this record, it was like a really challenging year. It was one of the more difficult years of my life, to be honest. Like my mom had cancer scare, and there's family drama, and we had a 2 year old, and she's so awesome, but like we just had no space to create, and it was I don't know, it was a really rough time. I was going through my own health stuff, and so when I went to the studio, I just really wanted it to be like a comfort to me, you know, like I needed it to be like a place of refuge, and like I it's gonna be okay, you know, like hey, you're gonna make it, like I promise. And so I was writing songs that way, and so listening to like that kind of music, Bob Marley, Paul Simon's Graceland is that record for me. There's so a lot of those influences started coming, but really I just wrote that way because I needed it. I was like needed a hug, so I wanted the record to sound like a hug.
Well,
I
it
didn't wasn't.
does for sure, definitely.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that was the goal. Was kind of something that wouldn't get old with time, something that's just kind of like you put on going up to the mountains or headed to the beach, and like there's no skip songs. It's just like this is a vibe I'm going to put you in. That was kind of the goal.
Yeah, like there's the I always think of John Foreman, like his most recent album in that vein of the seasons in bloom. But your music always, yeah, like there's some songs that I'll put on when we lived in California going to the beach. It's like this is a beach jam, and
Yeah,
driving my child crazy. He's like, Dad, but I always try and expose him to good music, and you're in that pocket because I want him to develop the same passions that I have for music and storytelling. I think is really what
yeah,
it comes down to. Because you're telling stories, but they're real stories. But yeah, this new album definitely, and I really do mean it, it is like a big hug, it's like this feels good, this is heartwarming. Or if I'm feeling a little emotional, I might throw on, again, going back to Ships of the Night, even though that's a
yeah,
different part of my life now.
yeah.
Or everything that you've done, I mean, all the albums are great. um I think, again, City of Black and White is always good. Young Love, Just Kids is another favorite of mine.
Yeah.
Uh, but I feel like I get, even though I don't know you, I've gotten to know you personally, which has made this conversation even more fun, is just seeing the different sects of your life,
Yeah.
and just what you've created. So all the success is well deserved. And it's fun to just, this is a real great moment for me. I've been excited to chat with you for a while, and I'm glad we were able to make it happen. But yeah, best of luck on the tour the rest of the summer with, and also being a family guy and
Yeah.
figuring out all that
Oh, man.
stuff and making it work. And have you
Yeah.
ever considered writing a kids album? I'll ask real quick. I know, because I feel like you could totally do it
I
personally.
mean, I do sing like I've thought about it only because I sit and now I sing children's songs every night of my life for like a while because I don't we have three girls and it's like they all want me to sing to them and um I do enjoy it. There are some weird I it's funny like the lyrics I don't know of songs and the ones I do and then like I as a songwriter I'm always thinking about this. I'm like this is the weirdest song. Like what is the spider going up the spout for? And like it's washing him down. But I'm like, who wrote a song about a spider going up a spout and the rain coming down? Um, I have no plans yet, but I could see myself only because kids songs like my kids want to listen to terrible music. Like they want to listen to like there's something about a children's ear. It's like they only want sugar in their mouth,
Right. Or
like
same
they
with, I get it.
yeah, like they want that kind of music that's like sugar. It's like high pitched noises and I have thought about it. I'm like, how would I capture a child, but like do something that I could stand to listen to? And I was like, Jack Johnson really did it with that one record that was really cool, the Curious George. Um,
Yeah.
anyways, yeah. So I haven't attempted it yet, but I have thought that way.
I agree with you. Yeah, my kid, again, I'm exposing him to what I consider to be good music. And he made a comment just offhandedly about, oh, I don't want to listen to that. That's Taylor Swift, whom he had never listened to before, but had developed that opinion from somebody at summer camp. And so I had him listen to a couple songs and he's like, oh, that's actually not that bad. And I was like, at
Yeah,
night we listen to music before we go to bed. And recently, when we got this conversation booked and things, even before that, we were listening to your new album at night before he goes to bed. So I'm trying to get him into it. But yeah,
love
it's
it.
like
Does
wants
he have
to
any favorites?
um he probably does. I can't think of anything
Yeah,
particularly offhand. He likes John Foreman a lot. He likes
yeah,
you. Obviously we do listen to some like worship type stuff at night
yeah,
sometimes too.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
Brian and Jen Johnson are really
yeah,
big. He loves those guys. But yeah, Jack Johnson is, and I don't know if it's lyrics that he's attracting himself to, or if
yeah,
it's the sound or the tone or even the rhythm. So we're just trying, I was like, we always read books before we see movies, but I just want him to be culturally sound. So when he goes into middle school here soon and other
yeah,
places, he has something to talk about, right? Because when I was
yeah,
his age, I was obsessed with music. So,
yeah, yeah, man.
um, very cool. Well, great stuff. Congratulations on everything.
Thank
And
you.
I appreciate your time, Matt. It's been an honor chatting
Thanks,
with
man.
you. I've been a fan for a while, so I'm glad we were able to make it work and
Love it.
enjoy the summer. Enjoy your
Well, man,
family.
yeah. And I hope to see you out at a show.
Absolutely, Matt. Thank you so much, man.
All right. Take care.
You too. Bye now.